Hello there, Dragon Ball Infinity. It is I, your DBI admin Riz, and this is actually going to be a roleplay review. This time for Once Upon a Tower. The characters in this log are Indon, Mystroma, Hypo, Saliath, and Koshoro. The type is a drama/dialogue. The arc is, as the title is named, Once Upon a Tower, and the synopsis is that Koshoro goes to the Sacred Lands, and he meets with the chieftain of Jenny Jenny Village, and finally makes his way to the Tower of Korin. As Coco reaches the base of Korin's tower, he meets Indon, Saliath, Mystroma, and Hypo. They introduce themselves and begin the ascent. And quite honestly, that's the log. That's it. That is what happens from beginning, middle, and end. So, quickest review ever. Oh, my jokes are so dumb. But yeah, I mean, that is essentially what happens in the log. And some of this I've kind of already talked to Ike about at Hell's Gates. But just to kind of really break it down for the rest of you, when Kosho says that he starts off going to the Sacred Lands, we had a character that existed a couple years ago. He was the character Greg, and the Sacred Lands is where he is actually from. And Greg palled around with Koshoro for a long time, and we last saw Greg when he got separated from Coco at Pineapple Cove. And for those of you that don't know, Greg was the Mort character of a RP admin that we had named Zote. Zote left the game, and we kind of lost Greg. And while I really enjoyed the opening of this, I mean, it's Ike, so he writes these great stories, and these characters are very involved, and I'll come back to that thought in a second, but he writes this really great introduction, and we get to see the Sacred Lands for the first time, this place where Greg is from. While I liked all of that, personally, having known that the character Greg existed, and that's where all of this came from, I liked what is here. Everything that's here is on page. I just wish it wasn't Koshoro that was the one to show it to us. In a perfect world, Zote would have came back and Greg would have led Coco here, and Greg would get to tell us kind of his perspective, because that's his home. It is very nice, and it's a very great honor to, or it's a great way of honoring Zote and Greg and the story that he had been telling, to where, even though Zote left the game, we're not going to disrespect the story that he was telling. And so Ike kind of brings us in through Koshoro, who is really the only other person who I would say should be the one to tell this, because they palled around for so long that, of course, Greg told him a lot of where he's from. He talked about, his village, and, that they really don't like to use technology. They're more of the earth. They're basically Native Americans, right? It's exactly what comes from Dragon Ball, the source material. And the thing I wanted to say earlier was that Eichenbod is what I would call a Dragon Ball purist. From talking to him and from knowing him for as long as I have, he's given me the actual manga set of Dragon Ball. I have in my possession, from beginning to end, all of Dragon Ball in manga form. It's one of my treasured, my most sacred treasures that I personally own. And that's just what Ike loves. Like, when we go over the tier reviews, and you notice how, the first couple of tiers are all from Dragon Ball, because that kind of low, I won't say low power level, but more grounded approach to the character Goku, and being a little bit more traditional to the Journey to the West, that version of Goku, the little monkey king with the power pole, that's Ike's favorite version of Dragon Ball. To where, I came in at Dragon Ball Z, so I'm more of Super Saiyan and auras and crashing mountains and things like that. But this story that he wrote is very, that's the kind of Dragon Ball that Ike loves to see, right? It's very, very just kind of grounded, and I won't say low power level, but just, it's not as crazy as, space alien opera And it's all about the Saiyan eating like crazy. And to kind of sum up, I mean, he goes to Jinny Jinny Village. He meets with this chieftain, this big hulking like Maui esque. That's who I had in my head about it. This just this big rotund but muscular man who's firm but helpful and laughs a lot and is like, eat, 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 and you become stronger. Everybody eat like him, and you'll be strong like him. And that it's a really cute and fun read. Again, I just really wish that it was Greg that brought Kosho here, and rather than be like the DM for this, I would have just liked to see Coco kind of just like be present and react to everything, to what's kind of going on. But he's there. He recovers a little bit. This is after he went and had his Kansu bonus dinner with Fusen. He kind of in another log that I'm probably going to do in the Tiger and the Cub. He kind of shores up all of his accounts before going to Corrin Tower, because through everything that he has learned from Greg and learned here in the log in the beginning in Jinny Jinny, like Corrin's Tower just seems like the next big challenge for Koshoro. And he kind of has already kind of preemptively been like, I'm going to be gone for a while again. I want to see the sights. I want to have fun. I want to live among these people. I want to, take this sacred journey as seriously as possible. I do not want to disrespect anybody here. I didn't want to disrespect like your lineage and your culture and your ways. Like, he almost goes here kind of saying like, do you accept me to go on to this journey to your sacred tower? This grand mosaic to the gods on earth. Like, do you people accept me for that? And he doesn't say that here, but that's kind of what I'm getting out of it. And that's why he wanted to be here and go through the sacred lands. And it's all really wonderful, but I will say it's my least favorite part of this log. Not that it's bad. It's just like, once I got through that, I kind of needed a palate cleanse of like, okay, so we're here. This is it. And if it would have went from here straight to the tower, really probably would have been a really good log. But just when Indon came in, it just refreshed me a little bit. And the reason being is because once Koshoro kind of goes through the woods and then he, has this trek, this journey to get to Corrin Tower, he arrives and Indon's already there. Indon's in a capsule house. He's big chillin'. He's got like all this equipment and stuff everywhere that's going around. And he's just like, oh, hey man, you finally made it. And literally Koshoro was like, you beat me here and you flew? Like this, it's almost like I almost feel like Ike was just like, and I, maybe not, but to me, like, that just, it made my day. It made me smile so hard when I read that, because while this sacred journey and while this epic quest is something that Koshoro was doing, like, guys, you literally can just fly to Corrin Tower. It's known to the greater world. Most of the things, like, we know about the Dragon Balls. Like, the average person has seen the mystical dragon over top of Earth very recently. Everybody on the planet knows that this dragon exists. Everybody in the verse should know, since it was recorded. So we should also know that Corrin Tower exists. Now, Indon does say like no one's been able to like science the bitch yet, and that's why he's there. But yeah, just flying there, like, it's probably got some random like 10-year-old kid on summer vacation, like posing like this, like, went to Corrin Tower, right? Like it's like the Eiffel Tower. It's something that exists. It's a beautiful landmark, but nobody has challenged it in forever, because they know, like, well, you can't fly to the top. Like, no spacecraft, no, like, you can't just get up there, but you can come see it, right? It's like the Great Pyramids. You can't climb to the top of the pyramids. You can't bust them open and go inside. However, you can see it. You can take a picture. So that had me rolling when I was reading this. It was so unintentionally funny, but my God, was it funny. And then, yeah, like, so while he and Indon are kind of like, hey, man, what's up? Haven't seen you since we, dimension hopped. Then Saliath shows up, and Saliath is just, chilling in his engine, sorry, not his engine, his ship, the Blackjack, and he just arrives, just like, I'm here. And then next, Hypo just shows up. And what I loved about this, why this is my favorite part of the log, is because this, to me, is exactly what Dragon Ball roleplay is, or DBI roleplay is. It's just like, hey, you want to roleplay tonight? Yeah, sure, what are we doing? Oh, I'm at Corrin Tower. All right, cool. Well, we're just going to meet up at Corrin Tower. We're just going to have a roleplay. Like, we're not going to overly plan things. There's not going to be this big event. It doesn't even have to be an arc. It's just, it's Wednesday night. I want to role play. This is where I am. And everybody just meets there, right? It's writer's will, literally writer's will of just like, yeah, I'll hang out. I'll role play tonight. So here we are. And everybody's at Corrin's Tower. Some of these characters are meeting for the first time. I was really excited to see how Hypo and Koshoro were going to meet. I don't know if they do know each other, and Hypo and Indon know each other. Not really sure how that relationship came out, but it was just good to see. And then Koshoro gets to see Saliath again, and then Mistroma, who is as writer's will as freaking possible. I don't even think Saliath knew this, but Mistroma was like stowed away on Saliath's ship in like this tiny imp form, to which at first I'm like, where is he getting this power to change size from? But that's one of those things where it's like, well, we are kind of just in the supernatural world. And to me, it's more like Nezuko from Demon Slayer, to where, she can be as big or small as she needs to be within reason. So I was like, I don't know what this is. Doesn't really make sense. I'm not going to look up to see if he like has this power. Just sure, let's just run with it. Because again, it's writer's will. He could have said any other reason. He would have been really funny is if he were just hanging on to the side of the Blackjack and just flying along, like flailing in the air. And then he lands and is like, his hair's all windswept and everything. But this works too. And yeah, they just meet at the tower. And, like Indon knows Saliath, and Saliath obviously knows Mistroma. They get to then meet Hypo, and then there's Koshoro. So we have the collection of like the most heroic individuals and some of the most powerful individuals on the planet all at the same time, all with the same goal but different approaches to it, right? So while Koshoro is like, I'm almost imagining him in like native war paint that they would have put on him, and he's like bare chested with like his tattoos and everything. Probably even has like, like a headband with like a couple of feathers here and there, just like ready, like, I'm ready to do this as the way the people of this land would do it. And then you have Indon, who's got like cameras and stuff everywhere, and he's, got wires running. There's a generator running his capsule house. And he's just like, yeah, I'm about to science the shit out of this thing. Like, I can't wait to see what's going on up there. And then, Saliath is like, oh, yeah, you did tell me to come climb this tower. So, me and Matanfos are going to climb this tower. And then, while Hypo is there, this is kind of like the first time we've seen him out and about since the Dragon Ball fight. And he seems like he's still reeling from it. And I'm pretty sure that the shattered atmosphere also happened before this. So, like, we can kind of see that, like, something's going on with Hypo. Like, he is there, but he's not really all there. And I'm curious as to where that story is going to go. And then Mistroma is just another one, like, well, I don't know where we are. I don't know what we're doing. I just know that I'm, not on the Getty planet. So this is what we're doing. Sure, let's go for it. And he's just kind of like on board with everything. And I mean, again, that's kind of it. They talk about their backstories with one another. Hypo talks about, he was trained by Lord Raijin, and if this is another challenge like that one, then he will gladly accept it. Kind of his heroic moment. There is one thing that I wish we could have kind of, I won't really say omit it, but do I even mention this? I mean, I will mention it. There is a spot in here where Koshoro is like, sorry, I want to find it. Mm-mm. I think at some point he's just like, hey man, like I don't think any of this stuff is going to work, and I don't think he outright says it, but it's somewhere in the green text. Might be something that I'm even alluding to that I that maybe I made it up in my mind, but I feel like he said that, and if he didn't say that, that's great. But I just feel like at some point he was like, yeah, that's not gonna work. Like I think he doesn't come right out and say that it's not gonna work, but just kind of like, and I'm just like, let him try, right? Like that is Indon. That is Indon to his core of, if you tell Indon there's no way to see what's in the center of the sun, he is going to try to science his way to get some sort of like device or reading or schematic or something, right? Like the guy invented time travel. So the what's the word, the undoable, the unthinkable, like that is Indon. That is his superpower. That is his supernatural ability. Indon could stop training right now and still be one of the most powerful people in the world. Why? Because his strength is not in his fist, his strength's in his mind, and he will always figure out a way. So I just kind of like, and maybe it's because it's coming from Coco. Like if it were coming from anybody other than an Eichenbaden character, I'd be like, okay, yeah, but they're wrong. But I don't know. Maybe it's just all me. I'm gonna stop talking about that because I feel like I'm shitting on Ike, and I'm not meaning to. But yeah, this was a great log. You guys did a good job. I will say, you know, I know that the next part of this is getting to Corrin, and just for you guys to know, the end of December, I'm going to be incredibly busy. My little sanctuary is going to be occupied. So it's going to be very hard for me to do the Corrin bits until like maybe the middle of January. And I'm terribly sorry. It was something that I kind of didn't plan on, but I will try to do as much Corrin stuff for you guys as you're climbing the tower, if you even want to. I know some people have been trying their climbs. Koshoro, I think right now at this moment, has his attempts to get up the tower, and I think all of you guys are kind of doing your own attempts at it. But if you guys do want to do Corrin stuff, let's try to organize it on Discord. DM me on Discord. Talk to me on the game. It's just gonna be a little hard for me to do everybody in like a big group, a DM session at once. Just again, limited amount of time. It's the holidays, and you know my mother-in-law is coming to visit, so she takes over my room when she comes here, and I just don't want to kick her out to do roleplay stuff. So I will try to get to it as quickly as best as I can. But yeah, I enjoyed this log, and thank you guys for watching again. Riz, you gave me your time. Thank you very much. Oh, that looked like I was doing something else.